Well, good evening to you on a Wednesday, July 23rd. I'm Rod Hill coming to you from Vancouver, Washington, back from vacation, and I will be on KGW's Sunrise Show coming out of downtown Portland live tomorrow morning starting at 5 a.m. Hey, I wanted to start with an update on the Northwest Large Fire Map. We did get up to 90 degrees in Portland today, and I'll get to the forecast, which basically shows a little cool down tomorrow, then a pretty good large cool off going into the weekend. And of course, cooler weather generally is good news for the fire crews trying to build containment lines around the fires burning in the Pacific Northwest. So we drove to Idaho, my family. We got home last evening and we drove through the gorge, Interstate 84, and we saw the I'm not going to say it right. The Burdon fire, Burdin. My apologies for not knowing how to say that. But this is the fire burning on the Washington side of the Columbia between Bingen and Lyle. The report that came out at 5:15 this afternoon from the Northwest Fire Coordination Center has that fire just over 11,100 acres. The wind forecast continues to be from the west. The forecast tomorrow, west winds 10 to 20 miles per hour with a little bit of a cool down, as I mentioned, significant cooling with a west wind coming into the weekend. The best news, by the way, on the fire here burning, which is largely in timber and up slopes and down into canyons, um, is that the fire discussion today talked about crews really focusing on clearing brush and fuels away from homes. There's over 1,000 residences or homes threatened by this fire. They've had 37 homes damaged. They've had 14 destroyed, but they say they believe pretty much all of the homes now have at least a 50 to 100 feet clearing of fuel around the homes, kind of a fire safe perimeter. Now they add that they're going to continue to work and hopefully get these perimeters around these homes out to 200 feet. But they're making progress. They did have some new containment lines built today, so that is good news. Still, evacuation notices coming out of Skamania County for this fire. Otherwise, the Cram Fire burning in near Madras in Jefferson County, that one's now 77% contained. That's this guy right here. And really, there's not a lot of fire activity overall in Oregon until you get down into this cluster of multiple fires burning in Southwest Oregon. And a lot of this came weeks and weeks ago from 2 to 3 different lightning storms that moved through. Otherwise, in Washington, you've got to get up into the northern half of the state. And considering the time of the year, I mean, we've had fire maps look a lot worse than this one. Let's hope we get some good news soon on that fire burning out in the Columbia River Gorge. Okay, all of this brought to you by the Momentous Wealth Management team and their podcast, the Momentous Wealth Podcast. You can listen to investment topics on Apple Podcast or on Spotify, again, from Momentous Wealth Management, licensed in Oregon or Washington. Easy to search their podcast there. Okay, well, the big story today was we got hot again. The 10th day, 10 of them now, hitting 90 or better this season out of PDX. Here is the good down and dirty report that came out at 5:14. And in some cases, these temperatures may be adjusted upwards a degree or so. But we did have clouds at the beach. Astoria 66. Kelso 85 today. It was 90 in Scappoose, Vancouver, PDX 90, 91 in Hillsboro, Aurora 92, McMinnville 91, Salem 92, Eugene 92. So everybody was kind of right around 90 degrees inland today once you got down into Clark County and then southward into Eugene. Other temperatures 90 over in Central Oregon and Bend. So just as warm over there. Hottest temperature in the state today, by the way, was the Dalles at 97 degrees. Again, a bit of a cool down coming in the coming days, which is terrific news. Oh, by the way, I know some of you watch from Washington and even up into the Tacoma, Olympia area. SeaTac hit 78 today up in Seattle. And then if you scroll on down, Olympia was 78 as well. We talked to this shows Vancouver at 84. Um, this was a five. Oh, no, I'm sorry. This is an old report. They haven't updated this yet. I didn't realize it was an old report until I saw Vancouver at 84 because Vancouver hit 90 today. So they haven't updated that report yet. So sorry about that. They're kind of late on the spot there. Okay, what's going on? Visible satellite picture. This is cool to look at because you've got the low clouds hovering along the coast, mostly 60s today. There was no stormy action east. You can see cumulus clouds popping, but so far it's been a dry day out in central and eastern areas of our state. I want to show you a couple of things. Number one, this is my imagery page on my weather site, portlandweather.com, that I own and operate. This has been missing for like since the first part of May out of the University of Washington's Atmospheric Science Department. And finally, it's back. I'm talking about this map right here. And see, and this shows you lightning, which is great. No lightning in Oregon or Washington, big clusters of lightning over in looks like Colorado and Wyoming and down into New Mexico, but we have been clear, so that's good news. Here is the upper wind flow contours at 18,000 feet, 500 millibars. So here we are today, a little weak trough, but nothing of consequence. We hit 90 degrees. We're in the same batch of air tomorrow. Now, weather models say we ought to be at least 2 degrees cooler on Friday. So instead of 90, that would be 88. And then more significant cooling going into the weekend. And that's when, see the second trough right back here? This is going to swing down into Oregon and Washington, probably set up a morning cloud afternoon sun pattern and give a lot of us here on the west side high temperatures only into the 70s. I'll show you the flow pattern coming up in just a bit. All right, so here is what the National Blended Model temperature says. This weather model gave Portland a high today of 88. It turned out to be 90. So based on today, 2 degrees, not warm enough. So here's tomorrow, 85 to 87. Could that be, 86, 87 to 88, 89? Maybe. Around Portland, down into Salem. 97 down in Southwest Oregon. Well up into the 90s out in the Columbia Basin from Pendleton up into parts of Washington again, and 90 degrees again tomorrow over in Deschutes County. Now here comes Friday. Now the cool off is considerable. Friday, closer to 80 degrees from Portland down into Salem and down into Lane County, Eugene, 84, 85. Still 90s down south. Still 90s, but not upper 90s. So a little bit of a cool break out in the Columbia Basin. And this shows the Dows, which was 97 today, only 86 on Friday. That's the cool down, which would be good news for the fire crews. And here's the even more cool weather because I think we'll get into morning cloudiness here on the west side. This is Saturday, and look at all the 70s. 77, 79. But if we get morning clouds on Saturday, we might struggle to just get up into the mid 70s. I think we could have morning clouds on Sunday as well. But you can see the cool down here on the west side, 74, 73 up around Seattle. And now some 80s out of the 90s, in fact, in Pendleton and up into the Columbia Basin, and still about 90 over in Deschutes County, 84 degrees. Again, this is Saturday's mark temperature. And there is no signs of any big heat coming our way. I do show temperatures on my 7-day backup in Portland as warm as 88, 89 on Tuesday, Wednesday of next week, but then we cool right back down. So here is the overall flow pattern with that said. This is the American GFS model. The flow pattern at 500 millibars, 18,000 feet. Again, this was today. Big 591 high up in the Gulf of Alaska. We get some ridging offshore from that, and we hit 90 degrees. So tomorrow, you're not going to notice a lot of change. Here we are tomorrow. Not a lot of change, right? Big ridge still 591 high out into the Gulf of Alaska. Right back here is a swing trough. It's going to come in, though, over the weekend. So as I play this into the weekend, now you're seeing changes. Here's Saturday morning. Here's Saturday afternoon. Big difference, right? Cool weather coming in. I think we'll get morning clouds. And again, if we get morning clouds, we may do well just to get up into the mid 70s. So a very comfortable weekend upcoming. And also note that the upper level high that was, remember when we hit 97 degrees before I went on vacation, and the upper level high was all the way out over Arizona and Utah and Nevada, and we got into that ridging and we hit 97. But now the upper level high is staying back east. I mean, this is this coming Saturday. The upper level high, which is a strong one, 597, it's over Georgia though. And troughing and cooler weather dominating all of the west. So here's this upper level high. This is Sunday. Let's just keep an eye on it. Is it going to stay back east? Now it's looking like it's creeping into the Midwest. This is this coming Monday. This coming Monday, which is the 28th of July. Upper level high now into the Midwest. So that would be a heat wave into Missouri and Iowa and pretty warm all the way into the east flank of the Rocky Mountains. But we're still pretty comfortable. Cold low in the Gulf of Alaska. This does show, though, we get into a south flow with the troughing ahead of this low And on the back periphery of this upper level high also gives us a south flow. So that's what's going to help, I think, shoot us back up into the upper 80s, maybe Tuesday, Wednesday of next week. And although this doesn't show it that great, I'm looking at my notes, pardon me. I do have a building chance of thunderstorms with lightning scattered, at least in eastern Oregon and maybe central Oregon, starting Tuesday of next week. This is Wednesday of next week. And a little disturbance right here, south flow. See the low, this is probably a low, weak upper level disturbance here. So that's a chance of thunderstorms and an unstable south flow pattern overall. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, maybe into Friday of next week. So if that's the case, we would have several days in a row with thunderstorm activity and probably new fire starts, again, east of the Cascade. So that's something next week that we'll be looking at carefully. Let's go around the horn. Let me see it. Is this updated? All right, here are the updated. These are the 6:30 temps. We're still 90 in Salem. It's pretty warm. Still 93 in Medford. All right, so Medford, 96 tomorrow. There's a chance of a thunderstorm showing up in the forecast for you folks tomorrow. But that's it. And then you cool down by Saturday, 89, Sunday, 90, 91. So, I mean, better than, upper 90s, right? That's your weekend forecast. And there's that little spike in some hot weather again coming in Tuesday of next week. So that's Medford. What about Bend? 91 tomorrow, all dry, 88 Friday. And then there's the weekend cool down. Not as hot as it's been, 83, 86, but then back up in the 90 the first of the week. And again, starting Tuesday and Wednesday of next week, keep an eye. There could be some scattered storms developing in Central Oregon. So we'll keep an eye on that, of course. Pendleton, 94 tomorrow, 90 Friday. There's the weekend cool down, 87, 88. Back to 96 Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. And again, especially by Wednesday of next week, keep an eye for a scattered thunderstorm chance hitting eastern portions of the state. All right, Seattle, 77 tomorrow. Sunshine to becoming sunny. Morning clouds Friday and Saturday, 72, 74. Back up to 80, 81, 80. I mean, that's pretty comfortable forecast early, isn't it? Yeah. All right, let's go here. Salem, 86 tomorrow. Maybe, I mean, I think it could be 88 easily. So somewhere between 85 and 90, I think is the bullseye zone for tomorrow. And then we cool down Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Probably still hit 80, but pretty nice stuff. And then back up to 90 potentially Tuesday of next week. Okay. Here's Astoria, clouds, 60s, except for a mostly sunny 70-degree Tuesday of next week. Here is North Bend, cloudiness Thursday, Friday, mostly sunny Saturday, Sunday, temperatures in the 60s. And here is, now this is the automated National Weather Service feed for my 7-day. I haven't typed in my own forecast yet, but let me take you through it. So tomorrow, sunny, I've got us at 87. So at least mid 80s, maybe a little bit warmer. Friday, partly cloudy start to a mostly sunny afternoon. I think we could hit 80, but definitely a cooler marine flow. So maybe it is 78, but could be 80. And then I think definitely in the 70s on Saturday. I've got morning clouds, afternoon sun, and I've got morning clouds on Sunday that keep us in the 70s as well. And then I do agree we start to warm up. Monday, I've got 84, 85. Tuesday, upper 80s. Wednesday, I think is still upper 80s, and then a little bit cooler after that. All right. The next chance, if we're going to hit 80 at all, would be this Tuesday of next week. Right now, the weather forecast here shows 87, and I've got us at 88. So we'll see. I'm meteorologist Rod Hill. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. It helps me. You'll be notified when I post. I'm back in town now, which means I will talk to you soon.